Welcome to the Ripple Podcast.
The podcast where we tell you strange and unusual stories.
And the ripples they create.
AKA the story after the story.
I'm Rosa.
And I'm Angela.
And this is the Ripple Podcast.
Get Ripple, the bright new drink with that ring-a-ding flavor, Ripple.
This is quite possibly the latest we have ever started a recording.
My phone told me about 30 minutes ago that I was supposed to be in bed.
No, you're not. You're supposed to be recording.
I'm already 2 drinks deep.
We are drinking Flying Embers Pineapple Chili, which is outstanding, amazing.
It's my favorite.
And then our brother Eric made us some who knows what drink.
It's like tequila and vodka and some blue drink.
Gin.
That's great. Fantastic.
It's pink.
We are Pod Jerky, 2 Canadian buddies serving up multi-flavored audio jerky in every episode. If you like good times, strong coffee, maple syrup, swamp donkeys, hockey, the outdoors, common sense, dogs, conspiracy theories, sports, and life in general, then subscribe and follow our podcast and check out our social media channel at Pod Jerky. Pod Jerky. Make it a double.
Do you want to tell me your highs and lows?
Wait, what?
Highs and lows.
Highs and lows. Is this a counseling session?
It is. Lie on the ground. Put a pillow under your head.
Okay, no problem. I'll get right to it.
You won't get back up again.
No, I won't. I'll sleep here tonight. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Wait, really? My highs and lows?
I don't know. Sure, why not?
I just ate some really delicious French fries and coconut shrimp.
Yum.
Highs. And lows, I have all kinds of mysterious bruises on my legs.
And bug bites.
Oh my God, it's so bad. I am a hot mess right now.
And weird sunburns.
I have sunburns. I have spots of sunburns.
Because you wore ripped jeans on tractor.
I wore ripped jeans and I only got sunburns through my rips. So now I have spots all over my legs. And then I went hiking over the weekend and I got bit by some sort of creature that really took a liking to my legs. And now I have I don't know. It's a mess. Yeah. It's all a mess.
You look like you've been
in a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. My shins are all scraped up because I had to do rope climbs today at the gym.
Eden went to dance camp today.
How's that?
She had so much fun. She's like missed people, I think.
I bet.
Yeah, she had a blast.
We got a break from you for a little bit.
For a couple hours.
Nice.
Yeah, it's Frozen themed.
Oh.
She's really cute. She's
Well,
having
that's
super
good.
fun. Yeah. So we were scheduled to do.
Oh, yeah. I pulled a topic.
Right.
It was extraordinary survival or something like that.
But we're not doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
So we got a message on our Ripple Podcast with Rosa and Angela Facebook page.
Why is it called With Rosa and Angela?
Because we're fancy like that.
Okay.
And this lady messaged us a bunch of screenshots and a message, and her son has been missing without a trace for 316 days today, which was over a week ago. So it's been more than that.
It's coming up on a year pretty soon.
Right. And a bunch of articles. And so I shared this information with Angela, and she said, let's throw out the survival stories and let's do a story on this and see if we can help this family out and just bring awareness to the story of Kyle Brittain.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why not? We can postpone that. And I had a listener request on what story to do for the survival story, but we can just push back a week.
Yeah,
we're good.
I mean, hey, you're ready for the next time, so
Yep. Sure,
yeah,
totally ready. I did all that research and totally wrote that story.
Totally, like the minute before we're supposed to record.
Oh man. Okay. So should we get this show on the road?
Let's do it.
All right. So it was somewhat difficult to find information on like the full story, which is kind of sad because this family is obviously looking for their son, their brother, their friend. And it's really difficult to find like a good cohesive story about this. So,
well, if you're living on an island in Hawaii, I know they're very, very family tight and very community tight, and everyone is auntie, uncle. There's a big pride, I guess, in your community. So if one of their community members goes missing, I'm sure the whole town pitches in and is concerned.
Yeah, and I found that. I mean, there's definitely a lot of search efforts, but well, let me tell you the story. Okay, so we're talking about Kyle Brittain, as he mentioned, and it was actually on August 30th of 2019, so it's coming up on a year now that he went missing. 27-year-old Kyle went for a hike in Waipio Valley, Hawaii. It's on the Big Island. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
My best friend lives in Hawaii. Oh. She probably knows.
Well, maybe she went out on the search. Hopefully.
Hi, Raina.
So he told his family that he was going to do a day hike on the Z Trail, which stood for Zigzag Trail, on the Waipio Valley, which headed towards the, I'm going to pronounce this wrong. I'm already going to tell you. It's the Waimanu Valley. And he was just going to go for the day. He wasn't planning on covering the entire trail. So the entire trail, if you're to do the entire thing, it's 13 miles.
Okay.
And people recommend, like, if you're going to take on this entire hike, you plan on camping. Like, it's not something you're going to complete in one day.
It's a difficult hike.
It's pretty difficult. But he was just going to do, like, part of it and then turn around and come back. And the part that he was planning on doing, the Z Trail, it's a bunch of switchbacks that go up to this top of the ridge. There's, like, this really pretty lookout, and then you turn around and come back. And
so, like, 6.5 up, 6.5 back?
6.5 what?
Miles. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no,
13 up.
No. The entire trail is 13.
Oh, so
but he was only going to do part of it.
Okay.
So I watched a couple YouTube videos on like what this trail really looks like because I wanted to visualize it. Like I've said before, I always need to see the pictures and the videos and everything.
Google Earth it and yeah.
So you go to this lookout, and then there's a paved road that's pretty steep going down into this valley. And they described it as like it's something that like if you're going to drive down it, you would have to have some serious like 4-wheel drive coming back up because a regular car wasn't going to get back up. It's that steep going down into this valley.
Okay.
And then there's these switchbacks going back up to the top of this next mountain over, and you have this like really, really pretty view.
Cool.
And what it sounded like is he was just going to go up to the switchbacks, turn around and come back.
Okay.
Okay. So he is an experienced hiker. He's been out with his family on all kinds of hikes since the age of 4. So, like, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, didn't just decide to hike one day out of the blue.
And this was his first solo outing. And he was, like, pretty excited about it.
Sure.
So, mind you, this was August 30th. So, this was Labor Day weekend.
Okay. Busy.
So, there's going to be a ton of people out there.
Mm-hmm.
Super, like, I mean, you're not going to be out on your own on this trail, I would imagine.
Well, and I would think, too, since it's Hawaii, it's a big destination spot.
And that's a time to take a vacation,
right?
Right.
Everyone's, getting in their last vacation before school starts again. And there's probably a million tourists there.
Yeah, for sure. So let me tell you a little bit more about Waipio Valley. So it actually translates into curved water. And it's in the Hawaiian language, and it's super beautiful. It has these amazing ocean views, and the entire hike itself climbs to 1,200 feet to the top, and that's the ridge, and then it descends, like if you were to continue on further than he had planned, it descends into the Waimanu Valley, and the first 3/4 of a mile, it's really strenuous switchbacks, leads up to the top of the ridge where you have that really pretty view. Like I said, I'm like rereading the stuff that I already told you from memory. And that weekend was Labor Day weekend. So there's tons of people out hiking the Z Trail. And one person actually remembers seeing Kyle near the lookout area. Now the lookout area is the very first part of the trail. And he said that Kyle asked him if he knew where the bathroom was. He was pointing him in the right direction, and Kyle said, "Thanks, have a good day."
Okay.
And this was around 6 a.m. So he started the trail pretty early, super early. So
I'm sorry. And Kyle, you said this was Kyle's first solo hike. So he had never done this trail with friends or a group before?
I don't know. It doesn't sound like it.
If he's asking where the bathroom is,
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
No. So he took off around 6 a.m. and that was the last known location. That was the last person to see him. After you reach the top, the trail, it continues 8 more miles and it goes through these gorges and hills. And it finally reaches the Waipio Valley, which I've mentioned a few times now. And to reach that valley, it would require you to cross 13 streams along the way. Mm-hmm. And this is why you're supposed to complete the hike when there's no chance of any storm being around, because the streams can flood and make it very difficult to cross.
Like a flash flood?
I don't know if it's necessarily a flash flood, but it's just like something that like maybe it looks far less intimidating than it actually is. Like maybe you could get your feet stuck in the mud, or even just being wet and then having to camp out that night and just being like uncomfortable. I don't know.
Because it rains so frequently, you know, on the islands.
Right.
So I'm wondering, yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of people on Reddit who are talking about this case, just like you said, there's a lot of people on the island that are like in this close-knit community and they have all their comments and their own input on this. They said that weekend, it should have been totally fine to cross. So if he had continued on this trail, like say he decided he got to the top of the ridge and he was like, you know what, I got here already, which is what a lot of people speculate. Like, I got to the top of the ridge, I'm just going to keep going. So if he were to do that, the water crossings should have been totally fine for him to cross. So also, side note, I'm pretty sure this trail is like super haunted. Like, this is my own little paranormal theory here.
Oh, that's funny, because I was like, if we ever go to Hawaii together, we've got to do this trail.
Oh my gosh, it seems so cool. But so at one time,
it looks beautiful.
it is so.
I mean,
pretty.
Hawaii
it's
is beautiful to begin with,
of course.
But this trail is. I'm looking at pictures right now on Google, and it's stunning.
Yeah, it's really, really gorgeous. I mean, it's got to be a trek for sure to go down that elevation and then like do the switchbacks back up. It's got to be like, you got to be in some serious shape
For sure.
But oh my gosh, it looks so pretty. So, where's my spot? Okay. So at one time, several hundred people lived in the Waipio Valley, and until a tsunami made them leave for good back in 1946.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the ruins of that city is still there, which is
no.
super fascinating to me. Like, that makes me even more intrigued to check this out, because there is something like, I don't know why, but to have abandoned
city,
structures,
yeah,
there's
like
just
a ghost town.
Yeah, for whatever reason, that stuff is like super cool to me.
Oh, 100%.
Especially like when it becomes like reclaimed by nature.
Oh, totally.
Like way back when I talked about river country.
River country.
Yeah.
Haunted Disneyland episode.
Oh my gosh, it seems so cool. I bet it looks so pretty. But anyway, back to Kyle. So Kyle, when he didn't come home that night on this like, you know, hike in, hike out, one day sort of trek, his family obviously was super worried. They couldn't get a hold of him on his cell phone, and then they later found his car was still parked at the trailhead.
Okay.
And Kyle, like, they knew he took some water, he took some power bars, but he wasn't prepared to stay overnight out in the basically rainforest.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it would have been like super harsh conditions, but like that just wasn't what he had planned for. So worried that he could be lost or injured out on the trail, a search was launched almost immediately, and this involved helicopters. Search and rescue personnel headed out on foot. They like retraced all of the steps he would have taken. They sent out dog teams.
Oh, that's awesome. So they didn't wait the whole like 24 hours of a missing person. They like got on it.
It seems like they went as quickly as possible,
That's
which
great.
makes the story even more haunting, because oftentimes you hear about missing people and like, okay, they didn't show up for work for a couple days. They weren't going through their regular routine, and it takes people a while to figure out that they're missing.
Right.
But Kyle, they knew that day that he wasn't where he was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So After they sent out on the dog teams and the search and rescue and everything, there was just no sign of him. They had checked the areas where he may have like fallen from a trail, or maybe he had strayed off the trail, and there was just nothing. They searched by land, air, and sea because they're right against the ocean. And like I said, there's those water pathways right there. They found absolutely nothing.
No trace.
Not only did they not find Kyle, but they didn't find the backpack that he was carrying. They didn't find his phone. They didn't find any pieces of clothing, his keys, anything that would indicate that he was even there, which is super.
Other than that person seeing him on the trail.
Right. So they have one witness who said that they talked to him, pointed him in the direction of the bathroom, and that was
In
it.
his car at the trailhead.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. So they continued on this search for days. And after just days of unsuccessful searches, Kyle's family was actually able to get a hold of cell phone records. And they found out that the last ping was right there on the ridge of the Z trails at 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
So they knew he hiked that far.
So apparently he started around 6.
Mm-hmm.
So then 8:30.
He would have been at the ridge,
Okay.
which, I mean, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So where did he go after that? And that just tells you that he did, in fact, go on the hike as he had planned. He didn't just take off with someone
Right.
and like leave his life behind.
Trying to hide out or something.
Right.
He was on the trail.
Yes. So on Tuesday, September 24th, the search was suspended. Volunteers continued to look for him, and his friends and family were still working hard to find answers. And they just found nothing, which is just so bizarre because it doesn't make any sense at all. Like you would think, like I tried to play out all the different scenarios in my head. Like say, I mean, I hike a lot, you hike a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Say you're on a hike by yourself and you slip and fall. Well, there's a ton of other people on the same trail that day because that weekend, being such a holiday, like a heavily traveled holiday weekend, you would think that somebody would come along and be like, oh shit, you know, somebody fell right here. They would see you, they would hear you, they would come across. And even if, okay, say you got knocked unconscious and you were like in some brush somewhere. Well, obviously the search and rescue are going to go down that trail just like you went down and be able to find you. So it's just super, super bizarre that there's absolutely no trace. They didn't find, he had a backpack on him that they didn't find. They
cell
didn't find
phone.
his cell phone. They didn't find anything. So if you just like try to pan out any one of these scenarios of like, okay, what could have happened? It doesn't make sense.
Well, and the rescue efforts. I mean, like you said, they had a helicopter, they had boats, they had search dogs.
And this is fresh. Like this is a fresh trail.
Right.
So what happened? It just makes me think that like there had to have been some sort of foul play somewhere. Like he had, it doesn't, like getting lost. Okay, let's say you get lost on this trail. You've looked at pictures now.
Mm-hmm.
It's right next to the ocean. You have a pretty clear direction of like, if you get seriously lost, I'm just going to walk towards the ocean. I would imagine.
Totally. I have no sense of direction whatsoever. None. And I feel like looking at those pictures, like I could, even if I got like turned around, I could figure out the way back to the car.
Yeah, you would be able to orient yourself because you have like a really, really clear reference of where the water is.
Right.
And at the same time, like I mentioned before, there's so many other people on this trail.
Yeah. That's the bizarre part. And only one person came forward
and said that they saw him. And that's where the problem really arises because this particular case, like it didn't get a ton of media attention. It didn't seem anyway. I mean, yeah, it's been a year now. So I'm looking back on old news stories and I know his dad was out there. He was out there for days looking for his son and he constantly gave video updates on Facebook. Mm-hmm. His friend flew in from out of town. I think he may have been from California to go search for him.
Wow,
and
okay.
they rappelled down ravines.
Right.
They searched in creeks, any place that you may have slipped and fallen, and there's just nothing, which is just doesn't make sense.
And I mean, worst case, like, and this is horrible to say, but say he did fall and, you know, passed away on some rocks. I don't know if Hawaii has like buzzards or whatever, but you think there would be some sign of that, correct?
Right. I would think so. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine that the search dog team would be able to detect something like that.
And same thing if he fell into the ocean. Like you would think something, his backpack, his shoes, something would wash up on the shore.
So also another thing that mentioned on Reddit is the possibility of encountering feral pigs in the area, and they can be super dangerous. And although it is super rare to have an attack, it's not completely out of the question. So that's just another thing that is thrown out there as a possible theory of what may have happened. I don't see that being extremely likely because I would feel like that would maybe cause a lot of noise and maybe other people on the trail would hear something like that.
On a busy weekend
on that
like
trail.
that. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Okay. So like I mentioned, Kyle's last cell phone ping was on the ridge at the top of the Z Trails. His vehicle was found that very same day at the Lookout parking lot area. And then in mid-September, drone footage captured a night video of a man walking on a nearby trail without a flashlight.
What? When was this?
So this was in September, mid-September.
Okay, so he went missing on August 30th.
Right. So a couple weeks later, they see this drone footage.
What?
The search teams are sent out. They can't find this guy who's walking on the trail.
Whoa, that's craziness.
It's super weird.
What?
I don't know what to make of it at all. I guess there's like some farmers maybe back in that area that could have been that maybe accounted for like what this guy was doing. I don't know.
That's crazy. Whose drone was it? The police?
I don't know.
Someone.
I don't think it was the police. I want to say it was like some search efforts.
Okay.
Because this is like I feel like the police wouldn't have been involved this late on it. This is just me talking out of my ass because I don't really know exactly where this came from. Mm-hmm. But
so this drone went up, saw this man
walking on the trails.
They went out to go look for this man.
He wasn't there. He had no flashlight.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is weird.
Super weird.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. And I don't think anybody really knows what to make of it.
Right.
Okay. So let me tell you a little bit more about Kyle, like his physical appearance and everything, and like what he had with him that day. So he would now be 28 years old. He's 5'10", has black hair, brown eyes, a slim build. He actually, to me, he looks younger than that.
Okay.
It may just be the pictures that they posted, but he like has kind of like a boyish face to him.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture of him right there if you want to take a look.
Oh,
like
yeah. He looks young.
Yeah, he looks young. He has 2 moles on his left collarbone. And on the day of the hike, he had a black backpack with him that had a T-Mobile logo on the back of it. And that's pretty much all we know at this point. And like, I don't know. Because it's so quick that they were able to start this search, how extensively they searched, and how long they searched. To me, it just makes me think that he is not there anymore. And that's pure speculation, but I just wonder if maybe he met up with the wrong person or something happened, but it's just like people don't just vanish like that.
So what does his family think?
That's the thing. I've tried to kind of ask some questions and communicate with them because, like I said, they reached out and asked us to cover this story. Mm-hmm. I haven't gotten a response yet, and that might just be me kind of asking too soon to our recording to get a response. I mean,
it was not even a week ago they asked us.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly if they have any theories. I know obviously they're counting down every single day since he's been gone. So they're not letting this thing go for sure. The one thing that I was really curious to find out and would like to know if they're able to answer this question is that I know they were able to get some sort of cell phone records to figure out where his phone last pinged. But I wonder if they were able to get any sort of records of, depending on like what kind of service he had set up, of text messages that maybe he had sent. Or remember when we did the Into the Void how we were able to find out about pictures that were taken shortly
Exactly. I
before.
was totally thinking the same thing.
Because obviously you're on this really beautiful trail, and it's like the first time you're going out alone. It is a year ago. I mean, this is the day of social media. Like, I would think that he would be taking pictures, you know,
Totally
all of these sites.
posting all of that.
That would totally give you an indication of where he last was if they were able to get those pictures. And at the same time, if they had any sort of cell phone text message record, maybe that would show you if maybe he had intentions of meeting up with someone.
Right.
So I don't know. It's so frustrating, and I feel so awful for this family that is
Just the unknown.
Yeah, almost a year looking, and it's like one of those things where, oh, he's going out on a hike. Like, he's an experienced hiker. I went on a hike last weekend, and I don't think anybody in my life would have suspected that anything could happen to me
On that hike.
Mm-hmm. So it's really sad. It's really bizarre. At the same time, I just wonder if he were like a pretty little blonde girl.
If it would have gotten more attention.
Yeah. I just don't know.
The mom posted on Reddit, she said, to my son, Kyle Brittain, missing without a trace in Waipio Valley area.
Waipio?
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I watched a lot of YouTube, and I think that's how they say it.
Say it again correctly.
Waipio.
Okay. Valley area. Kyle, if you are alive somewhere, I beg that you please contact me ASAP. Today is day 276 of torment, not knowing whether you're dead or alive. I love you and miss you so much, Kyle. Please reach out to me. And this was 49 days ago.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of like a little like shrine memorial with some angels and flowers and some pretty crystals, and then a whole bunch of pictures of Kyle like with his cat and friends.
We'll definitely post these pictures.
So if you have any information about Kyle Brittain,
I do have the information here. So
okay, so where should people go?
Happen to have any sort of information at all that could be useful, you can contact the HPD, and the phone number is 1-808-935-3311. Or if you want to submit a tip anonymously, you can contact Crime Stoppers, and again, that's 808-961-8300. You could also, which I forgot to give my sources, but I'll go ahead and give them now. There, you can contact any of the friends or family on the Find Kyle Brittain Facebook page. So if you just give that a search, you'll be able to find it pretty easily. And there's also an Instagram account that is actively posting and providing information to help find Kyle, along with any other missing people in the area. It is missing_in_YPO, which is spelled WAIPIO_Valley. And we'll tag that in our Instagram. We'll have that available. So if you follow us at Ripple Pod, you can find that information. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I wish I had more information. I wish there was some way that we could help more other than just trying our best to spread the word and trying to find him. It's just...
I know that the family is big at, promoting never hiking alone because of Kyle's missing. So that's something just to kind of remember, maybe when you feel like going hiking and maybe you don't have a friend to go with, just take a moment and maybe call someone. Think of Kyle, and in respect to his family, just take a friend with you. Wait for a little while, and they're very big promoters of never hiking alone now because of his missing.
Yeah, and I mean, he was only missing for a day too, and they still couldn't find him. Imagine if you were actually going out on the entire trail and you're backpacking for like, say, weeks at a time, and people don't realize you're missing until several weeks later. Like it makes a huge difference. And
Right.
he was only gone for a day and they still have no trace of him. And I mean, I've gone hiking by myself more times than I can count. I used to do that all the time. And it is scary kind of to think back at what you possibly could have encountered during that time.
Right. Because there's no one there to witness it.
Yeah. And I mean, if you are determined, like that's what you want to do, you want to go by yourself, you want to meditate, whatever, just like be in your own thoughts and be hiking out alone, make a plan. I mean, tell somebody, hey, I'm going to be here from this time to this time. If you don't hear from me by whatever time, like come looking,
Right.
like plan ahead. It's just, I don't know. The whole thing is so weird.
Yeah. I mean, he had a plan. He did. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
He had a plan to call his parents when he completed the trail.
He did.
But they didn't get the call. And so luckily they were able to start the search for him a lot sooner.
Which makes it even more bizarre that
Right.
they couldn't find anything.
Yeah. It's just a crazy story. And, you know, we just, like you said, we want to get the word out there about Kyle.
Yeah.
And we, you know, were asked to kind of do a little research on this story, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah, and then it was also brought to my attention, and we can leave this in or cut this out or edit it in some way to make it sound, I don't know. But there was also another young man named Dalen Moki Pua, I believe is how you pronounce his name. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, he was kind of similar-ish age. I mean, young man. He was only 18 years old, 5'7", 150 pounds, and he too was last seen out hiking by himself. So this was actually before Kyle went missing. This was back on February 26, 2015. He was a senior in high school, and at the time of his disappearance, he was staying with his grandmother over the weekend, and he decided to go out for a solo hike in the Mauna Alua. I'm sure I totally said that wrong. How do you say that?
Oh, I don't know where you're looking. Oh, Mauna Loa?
Yeah, the Mauna Loa Valley Park. So he took pictures of himself on the Haiku Stairs, also known as the Stairway to Heaven, and sent them to his loved ones at approximately 11 a.m. And he has never been heard from again. The stairs are very steep and treacherous. It's a very difficult hiking trail, and it was actually closed to the public back in 1987.
Because of its difficulty?
I guess so. It seems like it. But I guess it was like a common thing, which, I mean, we have trails around here where technically you're not supposed to be hiking there.
Oh, 2 trees.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. But people do it anyway. They ignore the signs.
You hop that barbed wire fence and you hike. Yeah.
Right. And if you're found there, apparently you can be charged with criminal trespassing. But in spite of this, people hike on this trail all the time, nearly on a daily basis. So he presumed to have gotten lost somewhere and perished during his hike. His body has never been recovered. And that's the really strange thing is he's never been found. He's been missing without a trace. And it's been, what did I say, 5 years now, back in February 26, 2015. So it's very bizarre. I don't know. You know me, my tinfoil hat. It makes me think that something happens that people aren't talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, the unknown is what's so frustrating.
Absolutely. And I just can't even imagine what the family is going through.
It's horrible. And he's got brothers, right?
Yes. He has siblings.
Yeah.
His dad was out looking for him all the time. His best friend flew in to look for him.
Well, his mom's the one that contacted us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just horrible.
Okay. So it seems like the most updated information, if you want to follow along with this case and you want to spread awareness, is to really go on the Facebook page. And that's Find Kyle Brittain, and it's spelled Brittain on Facebook. And it's kind of crazy because there's these videos that they posted of them going out and searching. And in the videos, you see like all these guys that are volunteer search and rescues. They're all like young, fit guys. They have their backpacks on and all their equipment. And they're going through this Z trail and they are like huffing and puffing. Like they are working hard and they're out of breath. So it just shows how difficult this trail really is.
Sure. Yeah.
And at one point, the cameraman actually slips.
Oh, scary.
Yeah. So it kind of just gives you an indication that like, oh man, okay, maybe he did slip down there. It's very super dense, rainforesty looking type of environment. They are at one point they're kind of like rappelling down these ravines where he may have slipped. So, I mean, I know I said earlier that like, how could he possibly go missing? But at the same time, it's like, this is wilderness. This is Mother Nature. This is
right.
I don't know. I'm so conflicted. I keep going back and forth on like, there's no possible way he could just vanish out there. But then you look at some of these pictures and it's like, well, maybe. I don't know. Which makes it just that much more difficult to comprehend, and it makes you feel that much worse for the family. So it looks like on Facebook, their last pinned post is from Steve Brittain, which is Kyle's father. And he said, and this is back in November, "Aloha. It has been 9 weeks since Kyle disappeared, and we still have no trace of his whereabouts. There have been some rumors circulating recently that he has been found, but none of them are true. We still have no clear clue where he went, what happened, or where he is. A missing person investigation involving Hawaii County Police Department is ongoing. That will hopefully bring us some good news soon, but at this point we have no new information, no new leads, and no information that can be used to find him. If anybody has any information about where Kyle is, we do have a reward of $5,000 that we are offering for confirmed information that will lead us to his whereabouts. Our family truly appreciate all of your ongoing support and your prayers through this most difficult time. Mahalo and keep the love going. Steve."
Oh. That's got to be so hard.
Right?
Well, honestly, like, I'm glad we did this story, even though it's sad and there's not really any resolution. I don't know, bringing awareness and giving the family hopefully one or two more voices and to hear their son's story.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's my mind just keeps going, and I'm sure everybody else who is involved in this case, it's like, okay, it had to have been this, it had to have been that, but like each possible resolution is just,
there should be an answer.
Yes, absolutely, and that's
there should be an answer. Absolutely. Well, we gave the information. We'll post the information on our Facebook as well as our Instagram regarding Kyle's missing story.
I mean, this is awkward because normally we do stories that are super old and we can laugh and drink about it.
Right. I feel like
and have a good time. But this is something like I need an answer. It's going to be on my mind until there's some sort of resolution. But
thank you to Kyle's mom who reached out to us.
Absolutely. And
I hope we did the story
justice.
Yeah,
I hope we got some sort of information out there for somebody to possibly link up and somebody saw something. That's the thing.
Right.
There's no way he just vanished. Somebody had to have seen something, and maybe they didn't realize it meant something. But I mean, you don't just disappear.
Right.
All right. So normally at this time, I would be passing you the basket and having you pull a story for next week. But
we are doing another listener request.
And if you have a listener request, we will gladly
check into it for you.
We might not do it. We might not.
We might. Well, this one is not this person doesn't have a personal relationship with the story that they want us to check out, but they have a lot of interest in it.
And so do I. I've watched so many TikTok. Jeez, I'm
Instagrams.
so old. I'm like, what are they called?
Not TikTok.
The Ticks. know I've watched the TikToks on this.
Oh, I follow on the Insta.
On the Insta, on the gram.
On the gram.
Uh,
That's the only hint we're going to give.
That's it? Okay.
Shh. It's a secret.
But like I said, if you want to submit any sort of stories to us, you can send them to Instagram at Ripple Pod.
Or on Facebook, the Ripple Pod with Rose and Angela.
Or if you can email us, I'm not sure what the password to our email address is, so I don't know how to check it. But our email address is theripplepodcast@gmail.com.
I know the password.
Oh, okay.
It's the password that you and I use for all of our stuff.
Okay, I know that
Same
one.
old one.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for listening to our story about Kyle Brittain. And tune in next week for our other submitted story.
Listener suggested story.
And
It's going to be a good one.
I can't even wait.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous. I hope I do it justice.
I am so excited for this one.
And if you know me, you know I have some backstories. So, okay, until then, don't forget to be a fountain.
And not a drain.
Bye-bye.